Let us chant Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahatu Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahatu Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavatu Arahatu Samma Sambuddhassa. All right. So I believe that we started Disassociation Condition last week, but for the sake of everyone, let us go over Disassociation Condition again, start from the beginning and go over Disassociation Condition again, adding on to, of course, the revision that we have started yesterday. Did you benefit or even enjoy? I guess I'm sure we all enjoyed it, but but did we sort of benefit from the session that we had yesterday, although it did sort of run into the wee hours?
Very much so, Bhante.
Good. I'm very happy to hear that. And
amazing session, Bhante, yesterday.
A useful session, Bhante. Thank you very much.
yes, good. And so maybe we can sort of then decide on the group. We can maybe, or today at the end of the class, we can decide on a time where we could have another session again this week, because I believe one of the points I understand, with my understanding, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like where people might also be confusing or finding it difficult to sort of comprehend is also section on, for example, the Panchavokara Bhumis with relation to the Kammaja, Chittaja, Utuja, Rupas in relation to Patisandhi and during existence, how that operation works. I mean, it is there's a lot of detail, isn't it? In that section specifically, there's a lot of detail. And I believe, and even sometimes when questions are asked, if you don't listen if you're not listening completely, you miss out one point and then you confuse. It's very confusing afterwards. So maybe we can also then focus on those details with regards to the Kammaja, Chitta, the Utuja, Aharaja, the Rupas part of it, with relation to the Patthana that we are speaking to, where the Rupas, when and where the Rupas arise and their natures with relation to the Patthana. Would you like to discuss that? Would you like to discuss that, everyone?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, that will be very good.
It is. I mean, am I correct in assuming that that part is complicated?
Of course, it is.
Yeah, I mean, Damsiri Olu Varanama, I think.
Oh.
I don't know why he is doing that. So then Anit Kattu get a cover Katada.
Oh, Avinasa, Damsiri Olu Vanna, Api Gan cover a Qatar.
Damsiri. You made a name for yourself, Damsiri. We'll focus on that next time during our discussion session, and also sort of go over a couple of examples. So let us start with disassociation condition for today. Okay, disassociation condition. Right, page number 321. Oh, we did read this. So let's go directly on to the numbers. Right. So what is disassociation condition? Disassociation condition is when a phenomena, when the conditioning state and the conditioned state, right, they condition one another, but they are disassociated by the characteristic of the phenomena. Meaning, if it is a mental state, which is a conditioning state, the conditioned state is a material state. If the conditioning state is a material state, then the conditioned state has to be a mental state. Do you understand? How, in what way is it referred to as, or by the nature of dissociation condition? They are associated by means of conditioning the arising of one another, of being able to condition the arising of other phenomena. They are disassociated by the means of the fact that they differ in characteristic. What are the characteristics? Being mental or material. Do you understand? Right? Now, in the association condition, remember, which we did earlier, association condition, disassociation condition is the right opposite of association condition, right? Two sides of the same coin, right? Association condition speaks about association. Now, 7a, what is 7a, right? Mutuality. Now, to those of you, okay, to those of you who are unsure, please do not feel sort of alienated in any way. If you are unsure, please sort of raise your hands, or, you know, ask whatever questions that you need to ask to understand what we are talking about. So 7a, association condition. What is that? Both at rebirth and existence, 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas. Right? Conditioned by the 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas, arises 89 chittas and 52 chetasikas, mutually conditioning one another. Right? What does that mean? What does that mean? What it means is the fact that in association condition, the conditioning state and the conditioned state, right, is similar by way of characteristic. Hence, they are associated with one another. Do you understand? Right? They are associated with one another. Right? What is an example that we could use to understand its meaning even further? Does anyone have an example that they can give that would help us understand this even further? Someone? Any examples? ඒ කියන්නේ නාම ධර්මයක් පදනම් කරාගෙන තව නාම ධර්මයක් හටගන්න අවස්ථාවක් මතකද? Basically. නාම ධර්මයක් පදනම් කරාගෙන තව නාම ධර්මයක් හටගන්න අවස්ථාවක් මතකද? අපිට උදාහරණයක් වශයෙන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Yes, Damsiri. You're muted. Damsiri, you're still muted.
Can we say, can you say, can you, we have resonance
Yes.
Okay. Um, can we say, take for example, Kusala Dhamma,
Okay.
right? How many Kusalas you have? You have 21 Kusala Chittas,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So 21 Kusala Chittas can help another 21 Kusala Chittas to support. Is that I'm quoting it from the Visarjanavara, which is actually, it says that Kusalo Dhammo Kusalasa Dhammasa
Mhm.
Sampayukta Pachena Pachayo.
Mhm.
That means Kusala Dhamma, the 21 chittas with 38 chaitasikas can actually give rise to similar 21 chittas and 38 chaitasikas. Now,
And
good example is actually the very first Kusala chitta, yeah, which has got actually 38 chaitasikas associated with that, right? So, will that be a good example?
it can be it can be used as an example. However, my only concern
Yeah,
is in 7a, in 7a,
even A,
in Anyamanya Pachaya, right? In
yeah,
the Anyamanya Pachaya with regards to the moment of rebirth and rebirth linking and existence, 89 chittas and 52 chaitasikas, they have to condition or support mutually.
okay,
Right? The
yeah,
mutuality is my only concern, Damsiri.
all right, okay. Yeah, but yeah, that when it comes to pratya of mutuality, but when it comes to the samprayukta, which is association,
Association. Sampayutta.
yeah, it may slightly change, even though they quote the same
Sampayutta.
nama rupa. Samprayukta,
Sampayutta kanancha dhammanancha hetu pachayana pachayo. Sampayutta. Where is Sampayutta? Does anyone have the page?
samprayukta is,
Or some association condition?
yeah,
Disassociation. Here.
let's
No.
Bhante, in the manual of Dhamma by Lady Seattle.
No, 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 no.
No,
no,
you don't want.
no,
No.
the
It's up there, I think.
Sampayutta association.
Yeah, it is a condition where a mental state, the conditioning state, causes other mental states. The conditioned states to arise and be associated in an inseparable group categorized by its members having a common arising and cessation.
Yeah,
By its group, the conditioning state causes other the conditioning state causes other mental states to arise. The conditioned state to arise and be associated in an inseparable group characterized
by its members.
by its members having a common arising and cessation, a common object, and a common physical base.
Yeah.
This condition obtains between any chitta or chetasika as the conditioning state and all the other mental phenomena in the same unit of consciousness as the conditioned state.
Yeah.
As the conditioned state. As the conditioned state. So the conditioning state, for association condition to be fulfilled, both the conditioning state and the conditioned state has to be mental.
Yes.
Right? Has to be mental. Has to be mental. So we have taken 89 chittas and 52 chesikas mutually supporting one another in both the conditioning and the conditioned.
Yeah.
Right? Because they operate, arise by its members having common arising and cessation, a common object, a common physical base, a common object, a common physical base.
Yeah.
Right.
So can I, Bhante,
Yes.
the way, is it correct? The way I understand, that
Yeah.
means it's lumped, right? The well said. Take for example the very first Sobana chitta, right? It has got that is a that has got 38 chaitasikas, right? These chitta and these 38 chaitasikas are repeated or are well say copied in the same way as the conditioning, right? That means gives the same characteristics, same basis, right? Same object. Because it's the same base and same object, it gives the exactly the similar chaitasikas together with the chitta. If you take the very first one.
Okay. Can I make it a little bit more simple, Damsiri?
Yeah.
Right.
Just add one comment.
Okay.
The mutuality can be misleading. So mutuality can be between individual dhammas.
Yeah.
Because it's not between individual dhammas. This is between group of dhammas.
Okay.
Right? So that's the way I understand. You can challenge it.
May I? No, I'm not challenging at all.
Yeah.
But if we might put it in this manner.
Yeah.
Right. If we might put it in this manner, what we are talking about, Dil, is we are starting from the beginning of dissociation condition, but we are touching upon association condition, right? Just so you know what we are doing. Right. In association condition, where is that? In association condition, same as 7a. 7a, and even in 7a, even if we take mutuality condition, we know that in no position, right? In no position do all the 89 chittas and 52 chesikas arise. I hope that is clear to everyone. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Right? So just because it's there as 89 chittas and 52 chesikas, please do not take it in a manner where it is some supernormal position where all of this arises. No. Again, as we spoke about yesterday, we are talking about potential, right? We are talking about potential, right? The probabilities of it arising and its results, right? Let us take the first akusala chitta, right? If we take the first akusala chitta and its 18 chaitasikas that arise, associated. Now we know that the chitta arises together with the chetasika, these 18 chetasikas, taking the same object, having the same base, right? So that one consciousness out of the 89 chittas and the 18 consciousnesses, that one consciousness, right, out of the 89 chittas condition the arising of other chittas and chetasikas, right? Condition the arising of other chittas and chetasikas. Those chittas and chetasikas are here, right? So association here then works how it arises with the common object having a common base, right? The chittas and chetasikas arise. How? If we give it an example, because of present moment akusala, we do akusala in the next moment, or conditions the arising of akusala in the next moment.
Yeah.
Right? What pacha is that Dhamsiri? E pacha matakada apita. Proximity.
Proximity, yeah.
Proximity. Mokada Sinhala vachane? Pali vachane? Asevana?
Anantara.
Anantara pacha. Right? Anantara pacha, through Anantara pacha, then dekada. Now we have mutuality condition there. Right? Now we'll take, for example, everyone, the first akusala that we remember the example, the boy, seeing the apple, wanting to, think of that same thing. We know with that first consciousness arises those 18 chesikas supporting together with this consciousness, having a common base, having a common object, or a apple gediya, right? That apple that the boy wants to steal was the example we worked with during the first chapter. Now that act, that moment has mutuality condition in it, has association condition in it,
Yes.
has anantara pacha in it,
Yes.
right? Has anantara pacha in it, has arammana pacha in it. Arumana ganna.
Yeah.
Arammana pacha in it, right? What are the pachas? 6 sahajata has sahajata pacha in it.
Yeah.
Right? Has sahajata pacha in it, right? And we could actually go on and look at how many pratyakiyak a motata, what's the word? How many factors of the Patthana works in that moment, right? So here, according to association condition, what we are looking at is, yes, a mind arises conditioned by that mind, together with that mind, having a common base, having a common object, that those chittas and chetasikas condition the arising of other chittas and chetasikas in its spirit.
Yeah.
As we know, everyone, we know very well that one consciousness and a group of chetasikas are not enough to act upon a consciousness. We know that, isn't it? We know that it takes 5 to 8 chittavitis for a person to identify something.
Yeah.
Right? Even in that example that we use, it would take 5 to 8 vitis to identify the apple. The boy would have to have up to 8 streams of chittas working to identify just the apple. Do you understand? Does that make sense, everyone? Right? How that first consciousness, the akusala consciousness, and its chetasikas now condition other similar akusalas to arise. A arthen tamai Dhamsiri QA kusalo
කුසලෝ ධම්මෝ කුසලස්ස ධම්මස්ස
which
සම්පයුක්ත පච්චේන පච්චයෝ.
Sampayutta Pachayena Pachayo.
Yeah.
A Aruthen Tamai, then Ekam Apit Ganapran, that same thing we have also Akusalo Dhammo Akulas
අකුසලස්ස ධම්මස්ස
Akusalasa Dhammas
සම්පයුක්තේන පච්චයෝ.
Does everyone understand? Is that clear? A kiyanne, with that Patthana, what is that Pali is from original Patthana text. What it says is, me loke dharmyan tibenama, me dharmyan hataganne, me dharmyan me ආකාරයකට හටගන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රත්‍යයන්ගේ උපකාරයෙන්. Right? What? Kusalo Dhammo, which is Kusalaya ki padanamin, tava Kusalaya hatagannawa.
Yeah.
Then akusala.
Yeah.
Which is foundation being akusala, arises the conditioned state, which is also akusala.
Yeah.
Abhyakata Dhamma.
Yeah.
Abhyakata kila kiyanne, what is Abhyakata? Neither kusala nor akusala. Right? Arises can be the foundation or the conditioning state, and the conditioned state is also abhyakata, neither kusala nor akusala. Right? Now, does that make sense, everyone? I know that a lot of the cameras are off, but yes, Dil, we can't see your face today. Why?
I forgot, Bhante. I forgot. I'm sorry, Bhante.
Now the class is complete. Okay.
What about all those others, Bhante?
Noeline's camera is also off. But yes, dear. Yes. Oh, there you go. Hurry. Yes, dear.
No, Bhante, I'm listening, and thank you for telling me where you were. I'm very appreciative of that.
Yes, of course. I thought you might be a little bit Abhidhamma'd out after last night.
No, Bhante, I told you last night we had an early morning start, Bhante. I knew it would be about 7 to come. And early morning 6, 7. Oh, that's why I was telling you, Bhante, I have an early. This is summertime, Bhante, and some, there are, so yes. That's why. So I came running back, but I still, the traffic couldn't get in. Thank you, Bhante.
Does that make sense, everyone? I know that it might not make perfect sense, but if we are going to be taking the back seat and thinking, no, this is not for me, we will never learn. Right? We need to be confident about ourselves and try to get at it, because it's when you understand the way or the mechanism behind it, then it becomes easier. Right? It becomes easier. And mind you, this is only the summary. Right? This is only the summary. What we need to essentially get at is the story behind it. Right? And with association condition, right? Now, for example, if we are to go back to mutuality, we see the 89 chittas and 52 chetasikas, right? We need to realize, right? We need to realize when the 89 chittas and 52 chetasikas are seen, they are not reported as a cluster. They are reported meaning one of these chittas, you can see the highlighted, one of these chittas and their respective chetasikas out of the 52 can condition the arising of one of these chittas and their respective chetasikas in the next moment. That is what it means. Do you understand? Right? Then if I want to steal something right now, if you are taking the first akusala as an example, if I want to steal something right now, right, we know there will be a lot of details to consider, right? Because of the initial volition to steal, that conditions me thinking and planning out the whole course of actions needed to effectively steal. Do you understand? Right? If I want to give a dana, if I want to give a dana, if I want to give a dana, if I want to give a dana or do something kind for a person, the volition arises, and then we start thinking, okay, what is the best thing that I can do for this person? You know, like you would think if you are giving a dana or cooking for someone, you would consider, okay, what are the dietary, and allergies, and what would they enjoy? What can I do? What can I cook? What am I good at cooking? Right? All of that will arise moment after moment, but initially conditioned by the initial volition I want to give. Do you understand? Right? That initial volition, the conditioning state, and conditioned by that conditioning state arises this. Do you understand? Is that clear, everyone? Yeah. Yes, Devika. Shriyani, does that make sense? Anoma, yeah.
Bhante, mata kinada, like, can you repeat that? Kusalassa Dhammo. I want to write it. Kusalassa Dhammo.
Kusalo Dhammo, Kusalasa Dhammassa Hetu Sampayutta Pachayena Pachayo. Right?
Too fast for me to write. No, okay. I will listen to your thing and write it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kusalo Dhammo, Kusalasa Dhammassa Sampayutta Pachayena Pachayo. And then Kusala, you dub Akusala and Abhya.
Yes. All right. Okay. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Bhante.
Devika, there's a message for Devika. Devika, this is all given in the that book. You have got a copy of that book, volume 3 of Abhidhamma Pradipika. We will send you the text.
Devika is finding it difficult to understand my Sinhala, it seems. So Damsiri,
Yeah.
Damsiri, you might have to take it easy on her.
Thank you. No. But because Bhante had been giving like real big Dhamma words, which I couldn't understand at the time. I was amazed at him knowing to say things like that. Anyway,
Thank you.
sorry about that.
Yes, Anoma. Anoma, Shriyani, I would like.
Yes.
Anoma, how is it?
Yeah, Bhante, yes. Now, my understanding of that gatha that just now Damsiri said, that when you do a kusala karma, you said that, yeah, you will gain kusala. Is it what you said? So which means it's a resultant, or
it can be but it all depends. Now Damsiri's extraction was kusalo dhammo dharmayak kusalassa dhammassa. Now kusalassa dhammassa must come forward. Kusalassa dhammassa kusalo dhammo. So a kusala dhamma is conditioned by kusalassa, right? By a kusala, right? Through the condition of sampayutta pachaya, right? So kusalo dhammo kusalassa dhammassa sampayutta pachayena pachayo.
Yeah.
Right? So it depends on what law of condition we are talking about, right? But what it says is kusala dharmayak anikut kusal dharmayanta hataganna ප්‍රත්‍ය වෙනවා. මොන ප්‍රත්‍ය අනුවද සම්පයුත්ත ප්‍රත්‍ය. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Why? Sampayutta pratyaya කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? What is sampayutta or association condition? Association condition is where the conditioning state and the conditioned state are both mental. They have the same base, same object, arise together, pass together.
Yeah. Yes, Bhante. Then what is the conditioning force there?
Sampayutta.
Sampayutta. Right, Bhante. Can I ask another question, Bhante? Very quick question. Yesterday I wanted to ask that also. Now, Bhante, now there are two methods. Now, sorry.
Remember that question. I'm going to answer that last question again.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you, Bhante.
Conditioning force. Right? The conditioning force is sampayutta pachaya or association condition.
Yeah.
Association condition then become the conditioning force. Right? Is the real question. Right?
Yeah.
Association condition, we have a chitta niyama. We have patija samuppada. We have cause and effect, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? In taking the most ancient of examples, you plant an apple seed and you get an apple tree. Right? Karma. Right? Hetupala. A niyayam, chitta niyayam, karma niyayam, අපිට තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන්, we can understand the fact that when within the world of similar arisings, ඒ කියන්නේ චිත්ත සහ චෛතසික නාම ධර්මයක් අපි ගත්තම නාම වෙන්නේ චිත්ත සහ චෛතසික ධර්ම. චිත්ත සහ චෛතසික arises having the same base, same object, arises together and demises together, passes away together as well. Ekupada, ekut nirodho. First chapter. Remember everyone? Right? Now what is that? That is chitta niyama. Right? That is chitta niyama. Just like Utu has a niyama, has a niyama, that is chitta niyama. Right? That chitta niyama is such that there are dhammas that operate, and the way that it operates is thus. What? Sampayutta pachaya. ඒ කෘත්‍ය, ඒ කියන්නේ නාම ධර්මයක් හටගන්නවා. මේ හටගත්තේ නාම ධර්මයේ පදනමින් හෝ පදනම් කරාගෙන අනිකුත් නාම ධර්ම හටගන්නවා. Right? Mind arises or nama arises, dependent upon this nama arises other namas. Right? That those namas arise again, having the same base, same object, arises together and passes together. That is association condition. Is that clear?
Yes, Bhante. Thank you.
How are they associated? They arise together, they pass away together, they have the same object and the same base. Right? How many examples can we give? We can come up with 89 examples from the chitta side. We can come up with 52 examples from the chaitasika side. And we can come up with countless life daily examples from in taking the chittas and the chaitasikas. Any occasion where chitta and chitta arises, chitta will always arise with their chaitasikas. This is an inseparable group. Remember that word in association, inseparable group. right? Out of the 18 chitta that arises with the first chitta, apita eka chaisika dharmayak eliyata ganna baha. It's an inseparable group. It is that chaisika dharma which makes a chitta. Do you understand? Although the chaisika is not a chitta, it gives that chitta. It comes, arises together. Is that clear? Does that make sense to you, your question, Anuma?
Yes, Bhante.
Paccaya Sati. The Paccaya Sati is the nature of it rising itself. Right?
Okay, Bhante. Thank you.
And Buduvaregen nang ඊට වඩා ප්‍රශ්න කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? අපිට තියෙන අභිධර්ම පිටකයෙන් මෙතනින් නවතිනවා.
Thank you, Bhante.
Now, because for example, if someone was to ask, now that is what they questioned, isn't it? The Buddha, and the Buddha said, look, karma niyaya achintaniya. Right? You know, because I mean, it can be so complex and so intertwined that we are just unable to sort of comprehend it. So sort of intertwined. I mean, you could just simply relate to that in a way. If we were sort of at this point in time, every chitta that arose, right? Now you are listening to me, right? And if we had enough, if we were proficient in the Abhidhamma to such an extent that you were aware of this mind, then ekane mama me kiyana me dharme ශ්‍රවණේ කරන හෝ ශ්‍රවණේ කරන්නට හටගන්න මනස අපි බලාගෙන හිටියොත් ඒ මනසේ තිබෙන ප්‍රත්‍ය ටික ભેද කර කර බලන්න ගියොත් my gosh, just imagine. I mean, just simply imagine how difficult that process might be. I mean, so much of reverence to great practitioners like Nauni Aridhamatero and, you know, people like Mahasi Sayadaw and Pauk Sayadaw and all these people who are able to do it. But, you know, they are definitely creatures of a different caliber, right? Just the mere ability to comprehend the Paccaya Dhammas of one chitta that arises, we are able to recognize what chitta it is, right? If we are good meditators, we will be able to sort of see what chittas it is. We will be able to see probably, you know, cause and effect of it, right? We might be able to apply the Patthana, the Paticcasamuppada to it, right? But taking it a step further into the Patthana or even the working cycle of the Paticcasamuppada can be quite challenging. Right. So, Anoma, does that and everyone else, do you get an essence of what the Paccaya Sati and how the Paccaya Sati works then?
Yes, Bhante. Yeah. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Can I ask the other?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And Bhante, I'm a bit confused with this conditional relations and dependent arising. That is Paticcasamuppada. Now, Paticcasamuppada is dependent and arising, and it is vice versa. So, which means it is anyamanya paccaya, is it? So, there. Is there a...
Yes. I'm processing. Now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending, arising.
Hurry. Okay, let us api yang okay, here. Let's go to Anyamanya Paccaya. Right? We are here.
Mutual test. Number 7.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Right. Nama. Right? Nama. Now give me an example of the Paticcasamuppada. One you can choose, Anuma.
The first one?
Avidya Paccaya Sankhara.
Yeah.
Right? Avidya Paccaya
Sankhara. Yeah.
Right? Avidyawa කියන දෙය මනෝධර්මයක්.
Yeah.
කියන්නේ මනෝධර්මයක්.
Yes.
ඒ හේතුවෙන් under mutuality condition 7a, avidya paccaya sankhara can have mutuality conditioning.
Mhm.
Can it not?
Can it?
Can.
Yeah.
Mogadan, one, nama dharmayak, one, the conditioning state is nama. The conditioned state is also nama. So it
Nama, yeah.
also be sampayutta dharmayak could wenda pulwa.
Mm.
Right? Sampayutta association condition could wenda pulwa. And it can be a mutuality condition as well. Why? Because anyonya upakarya paccasamupade nuptina nang, right? Ara pavatveema ho ee dharmyange pavatveema wenne naha.
Yeah, the mutuality.
Oh, sorry, Anoma, speaking. So without that arising, that continuation will not be there.
Exactly.
Right? That is how, for example, avidyava tina takkal sanskara kinde tiyanama.
Yes.
Right? Ara avidyava nativune thana thamai budu piyanan wahanse gahakarako dittosi punage hang nakahasi. Right? Ara issara man hadapu e gedara e gewal wala e gewal දැන් මං කඩලා දාලා. Those foundations are no more in me. He was referring to the destruction of a house that he had for a long time. What was that destruction? Avidya. Right? Avidyaව කියන දේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ප්‍රහාරණය කරා. ඒ හේතුවෙන් අර නැවත උප්පත්තියක් ලබා දෙන සංස්කාරක ධර්ම නැවත මං තුල හටගන්නේ නැහැ. Right? So avidya paccaya sankharo can be anyamanya paccaya.
Yeah.
Yes, Mala.
Bhante,
Thank you,
I
Bhante.
thought
Yeah.
Annamanna Paccaya is the mutual support where A supports B and B supports A in return.
Yeah.
So if avidya supports sankhara, sankhara can't support avidya.
But if we eliminate sankhara, then there's no avidya, isn't it? When you reverse that, vice versa is like that. No?
Vice versa.
Yeah.
Api tava hituvat, what else?
Yeah.
Eliminate kirot.
Eliminate karot.
Sankhara, then there's no avidya.
Damsiri can't hear you. Sanskara. Hari. Yes, Damsiri.
Yeah, I think you can explain this because avidya is a chaitasika, one chaitasika, right? In one of these chittas, right? And that gives that help 50 chaitasikas, right? To support, mutually support.
Yeah.
Right? Sanskara is actually 50 chaitasikas, excluding Vedana and Sanya. Right? Sankhara is chaitasikas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so they actually not only mutual, there are other series of pratyas can be supporting. Now, for example, when you say,
let's first go into anyamanya first.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Anyamanya with nattang confused wenwane.
Okay.
Right? Api, so what Damsiri mentioned, did everyone catch what Damsiri said? Right? So Damsiri sort of spoke in the manner of avidya is a chaitasika dhamma. Right? We know that.
Yeah.
Yes, avidya is. Right? Avidya can be a chaitasika dhamma. Also, apita වෙන විදිහකට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right? අනුසය කර්ම විඥානය වශයෙන් අපිට කතා කරන්නත් පුළුවන් ඒක වෙන ලෙවල් එකක්. Do you understand? No? Right? Now, these are all, now when we speak about avidya, right? We have to, if we are speaking about dharmas in the sense of the ultimate realities, right? Avidya is ignorance, right? This ignorance, this latent tendency within us, ignorance, manifests itself how? Through the chetasikas, right? For example, like ditti, wrong view, right? Manifesting itself, right? Avidya, right? Avidya, delusion, right? Avidya. Now, that is one way that we can talk about it, but we can also talk about the foundations, the crux of being, consciousness, karma. Now, this is on the continuation. If we are talking about the continuum, we have a continuum which is karma, consciousness, and anusaya. Right? Now, for example, asanya satta bhumi does not have consciousness, isn't it? These three. Asanya satta bhumi does not have consciousness, but it has vijnana and karma. I'm sorry, what nonsense am I saying? Anusaya and karma. Asanya satta does not have vijnana, it does not have consciousness, but it has karma. Karma is the force that maintains the body. Patisandhi karma. ඒ පටිසන්ධි කර්මයෙන් තමයි අසඤ්ඤ සත්ත්ව භූමියේ ඒ සත්වයාගේ කය ඒ ප්‍රමාණයට, ඒ කියන්නේ අසඤ්ඤ සත්ත්ව භූමියේ ඒ ලයිෆ් ස්පෑන් එකට මේන්ටේන් වෙන්නේ මේ කර්ම ශක්තිය. ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රතිසන්ධි කර්ම ශක්තිය. ඒ ප්‍රතිසන්ධි කර්ම ශක්තිය පවතින්නේ මේ මොකද්ද මේ අනුසයත් එක්ක තිබෙන මේ අන්‍යමන්‍ය පච්චය condition එකෙන්. Do you understand? Then, do you understand? Is that clear? කර්මය අනුසය. Right? මේ අනුසය කියන දෙයක් ඒ අසඤ්ඤ සත්ත්ව භූමියේ තියෙනවා. ඒතේ අනුසය කියන එතකොට දැන් when we are then talking about the anusaya, this anusaya is non-reactive. Of course, it is only the kaya. But anusaya exists in that plane, although it does not give rise. But what definitely does not arise is the consciousness, vijnana. Right? If we take consciousness, right? If we take consciousness in the same manner is divisible into different forces. Memory is one of them. Jiviti indriya is another one of them. Right? And then owing to the uniqueness, now those are features of consciousness. How consciousness maintains itself. Memory allows the taking of data, creating this being that we know as Bhante, as you and me. But we die off here and we are reborn somewhere, right? And we will take on those personas, right? Just as we fought for our names now in this life, we will start fighting for another name in the next life, right? That is because of that memory, right? That we take on from that. So is that clear, Anoma?
Yes, Bhante, in page 293, guide to 2, para 3, I think it explains what you said, I think.
Okay, yeah. All right, 293.
3, guide to 2, paragraph 1 to 3, yeah, para 3.
290. Okay. You guys are now brushing, like literally eating this book, aren't you? 290. Right. 290.
Okay, Balanda Bhante, third paragraph, third one. Yeah. Is that what you said?
Which one?
As
This-
applied, yeah, to the 12. Okay.
As applied to the 12 terms of the Sutra formula, this principle means that any of the conditions such as ignorance, etc., exist, then in dependence on those conditions, the condition, the conditionally arisen state such as karmic
formation,
etc., comes to be. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
That's the one. Yeah. Hari
Right.
Bhante, thank you so much.
Right. Yeah, because now, for example, Anuma, if we add a bit more into it,
Mhm.
those three that we spoke, karma, anusayas,
Ja-
vijnana,
Yes.
may deval, these operate in a certain how can we say? These three, they are in or they lie in a position. If we take, for example, the earth, right? The molten core is like these three,
Mhm.
right? For these three to give effect, they find ways to the surface.
Yeah.
Right? For example, without the molten core, if the molten core was to go off like that, right? Within, we would be no more. As quick as that, right? That effect confines itself through conditions to the top surface, the molten core to the surface of the earth. In the same manner, karma, anusaya, and consciousness in the same manner has to have foundations to bloom.
Mhm.
Right? Now, for example, බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේ යටතේ ජීවත් වුණ සංඝ පිරිස බොහොම විවිධාකාර සංඝ පිරිසක්, ඒ කියන්නේ විවිධාකාර ජීවිත ගත කරපු ඒ කාලේ මිනිසුන් තමයි ඇවිල්ලා පැවිදි වුණේ. ඒ බුදු පියාණන් වහන්සේගේ ධර්මයේ අහලා ඒ බුදු පියාණන් වහන්සේගේ සංඝ රත්නයේ ඒ ඇසුර හේතුවෙන් එක පාඩම නිකන් memory loss එකක් වගේ, like a transformation, people became saints. This does not mean that those, ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ සංඝ රත්නය හෝ ඒ රහත් වෙච්ච ඒ පිරිස තුල ඒ රහත් වෙන්නට කලින් ඒ නරක කැත ගති නොතිබ්බ හේතුවෙන් නෙමෙයිනේ. ඒතේ නරක කැත ගති උඩට තව එන්නට හෝ එවැනි දේවල් තුලින් ජීවිතේ පදනම් වෙන්නට තියෙන පදනම නැති වුණා.
Mhm.
නැති වුණා විතරක් නෙමෙයි, යම්කිසි සුප්‍රමණ්ඩයෙන් හෝ ලෝකෝත්තර පදනමක් ඒ මනසට වැටුණා. ඒ හේතුවෙන් අර අකුසල් ගාමී හෝ අකුසල් මූල අනුසය ශක්තිය, කර්ම ශක්තිය, සච්චිත්ත ශක්තිය එම් පිටින්ම බ්ලොක් වුණා. ඒ කියන්නේ චිත්ත අකුසල් සිතක්වත් පාල වෙන්නේ නැහැ ඒ සත්වයන්ට. හොරකම් කරන්න ඕනේ, බනින්න ඕනේ, එවැනි සිතක්වත් පාල වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Why? That foundation, that pathway was cut off.
Okay, Bhante.
Right? So those manifestations, when we live the life that we do, those original sort of forms of phenomena that are present in our being, which has been conditioned through the lifetimes, have all come to be, and they will find its ways of manifesting itself. How do they manifest? They manifest through condition, they manifest through the chittas, they manifest through the chetasikas, they manifest through the rupas, right? And all of these ways, all of these things that we experience, that we are talking, these are ways that those anusayas, karmas, chittas manifest. That energy is manifested. That is how avidya and tanha, the two driving forces of paticcasamuppada, finds its way to our consciousness, our chittas and chaitasika dharmas, to keep that ignorance active in each and every bit and part of our life currently. Akusala plus kusala plus abhyakata. Remember, punyabhi sanskara, apunyabhi sanskara, aninjabhi sanskara, which is aninjabis, those formations that are neither kusala nor akusala. Me tunema mokada tiyenne sanskara. Sanskara, what is a sanskara? Sanskaras create rebirth, energy for rebirth. What is then rebirth energy? Sansare diggasena deva. Sansare diggasena tava sanskara dharma. Is that clear, everyone?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Anoma?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes,
Well
Noeline,
explained.
I
Thank
see.
you very much, Bhante. Thank you.
Yes, Noeline, I see you. Yes.
Earlier you mentioned about Asangyatala
Yeah.
and then about rebirth linking, but they don't have a mind, it's just the body. So where does this rebirth linking chitta go?
Right. Rebirth linking chitta doesn't go, it stops. It literally stops. What maintains, right? What maintains is the karma energy and the anusaya. Karma energy and the anusaya, right? It is explained to say some question, anusaya shaktiya pavatinne kumana akarayakinda. Anusaya tamai e sattva. Then karma, then mage karma, my karma, right? Or for example, Mogalan Mahathera's karma of patricide and matricide, Sariputta will not be reaping the benefits of that karma. No. It has to be the person who committed it. My karma is not your karma is not my karma, right? There is a sense of, like the gravitational pull, there's a sense of energy which keeps this sort of karma, sort of, if I may sort of put it in the same manner of the gravitational pull of the earth, sort of gravitating with this being, this composition. A composition eකට a attraction එක ලබා දෙන්නේ මේ විඥානය සහ අනුසය. Right? Yeah. So why the anusaya is there in the asanya sattva is to further sort of strengthen the karma bond to the person who is experiencing the results of karma, which is being the asanya sattva. Right? Now earlier, right, for example, when we sort of studied the kilesas, the three types of kilesas, anusaya, pariyuttana, vitikkama, we would always imagine this to be sort of like a part of consciousness, isn't it? Right? I mean, that is how we would usually sort of assume it to be. But now we know it's not quite like that. Consciousness, because if you would take the first chapter of Abhidhamma, what is the main thing? What is the main vinyaning sampurna venne moolika krutya kumakta? Cognizing an object. That is what consciousness does. Does anusaya, now it makes sense, does anusaya cognize an object? No. You know what I mean? Anusaya does not cognize an object. So why on earth did we ever assume that anusaya was a part of that consciousness. Probably thinking, we assumed that Anusaya was sort of below or under the branch and umbrella of consciousness, affecting the results of the way the consciousness works. But that seems to be not in a way that it is below consciousness, but in a way that it mutually relates to consciousness and karma, keeping the being as a being. You know, being as a being. Yes, dear.
But when you were mentioning before, you were explaining about asana satta, they don't have a mind, so therefore they don't have a vijnana. So what keeps it going is the karma and the anusaya. But you also mentioned about memory. So there, though we know anusaya is latent tendency and influxes and all these other words that are given, is that anusaya also memory? You mentioned the word memory. Where does that memory?
Memory is a feature of consciousness.
Okay, Bhante.
Yeah, memory is a feature of consciousness.
Because it's a part of the mind. So therefore, the memory won't be then there.
It is
in asana satta.
Let me use a more accurate word. It is the nature of the mind.
Okay, so if you're in asana satta and if you don't have a mind and you don't have a vijnana or consciousness, right? But you're having, but you have the karma and you have the anusaya. So that anusaya, you say it's a latent tendencies and everything, but obviously it can't be the memory because memory is associated with the mind. So therefore it's there. So therefore asana satta won't have a memory there.
Okay.
So asana
sattas don't have a memory. So even so that is explained in Pubba, and your question makes perfect sense, and I think it's a very appropriate question as well, Dil, because first of all, one part is asana satta has no memory. We know this because Buddha Kale, Pubbe Nivasanusati Jnanaya, the jnana of past lives, a monk sort of skips 500,000 odd lives, right? The time that he was living. And before that life he was living, and he's surprised. He's like, how did this happen? And he goes to the Buddha and asks, and he says, you were in the asana satta plane. He saw nothing, right? He almost, this space in asana satta was just simply blank. He did this whole section from when he attained enlightenment, and from this part, he started from this again. Just like nothing, it was empty, right? Why? Consciousness was not there. Now, Dil's other part that she mentioned was anusaya, latent tendency. Wait, I forgot that part now. Sorry, but you made a point there. I forgot that point.
Bhante?
Yeah. Yes, Mala.
Bhante, in Asannatala, you get Jivitendriya, isn't it? Shuddhastaka plus the Jivitendriya.
Kaya Jivitindriya, Rupa Jivitindriya.
Yeah, Rupa Jivitendriya. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
Rupa Jivitindriya. Right.
Thank you.
That is what maintains. A Rupa Jiviti Indriya, the question then appears, what maintains the Rupa Jiviti Indriya? Karma. Udara karmaja Rupa Vitarai, E Tale Tula Hatagan. Only karmaja Rupas, everyone, arises within the asana satta plane. Fueled, completely fueled by the patisandhi karma. So just imagine how strong the patisandhi karma can be actually. You know, even for example, with the Buddha, the question goes, why is it impossible? A Buddha cannot be killed. You can only hurt, or the body, but you cannot kill a Buddha. Why? Strong Janaka karma, right? What creates strong Janaka karma? This is what creates strong Janaka karma. Ma Sinhalen kiyana ඊට පස්සේ ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කියන්න. Deal මට බයින්න එපා හොඳේ.
Hey, කවදාකවත් බනින්නේ නැහැ, but I'm very grateful that you recognize that is also important because this is a class. not
Yeah,
an
yeah.
individual thing for one sect of people.
No,
Thank you,
no,
Bhante.
no.
I was
So,
wondering at one time what was happening here. Right. Thank you, Bhante.
yeah, the only thing is actually happening is I am trying to sort of rekindle
Get
the
better.
singular part of me, you know.
Yeah, very good, Bhante. And
Right.
always two languages are better than one. So, Bhante,
So wait. I'm going to explain something now. So how does Janaka karma become strong? Janaka karma becomes strong in the spirit of firmness. Firmness in what? Firmness within the consciousness which is present. Strongness or strength within the consciousness which is present. Right? This is explained in the Lakkana Sutta, right? And the Lakkana Sutta, then the Mahapadana Sutra, right? The two sutras, Lakkana Sutra and the Mahapadana Sutra, which is the Buddha's qualities can never be disrupted. Why? When the Buddha determined to do something, and that chitta, the consciousness, the volition arose to do something, he would only do it and then look back. It is in action, enforcing the strength of volition, that the Buddha created such a powerful Janaka karma through the time that he spent in being a bodhisattva. What does this mean to us and how can we practice it? Is then a question that I would ask. How do we practice it? It's in this manner. Yam kisi kusalagami chetanaවක් හටගන්න අවස්ථාවකදී ඒ කුසලගාමී චේතනාව මූලික, කියන්නේ හේතුවක් ඇතුව, අරමුණක් ඇතුව, පදනමක් ඇතුව. යම් වෙලාවට මෝඩකමට අපි දේවල් කරනවනේ, ඒ විදිහට නෙමෙයි. යම්කිසි හේතුවක් පදනමක් ඇතුව යම්කිසි කුසල අරමුණක් අපේ හිතේ පාළ වෙනවා නම්, ඒ කුසල අරමුණත් එක්ක අපි ඒ කුසලය සම්පූර්ණ කරනකම් අපි ඒ කුසල අරමුණත් එක්ක හෝ ඒ කුසල අරමුණට we are committed. What's the Sinhala word for committed? අපි ඒ අරමුණට committed. Anuma, what is the word that we can use?
කැප වෙලා ඉන්නවා.
කැප වෙලා ඉන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දානේ, දැන් දානයක් දෙන්න ඕන, ඒ දානේ දෙන්නේ හෝ යම්කිසි ශ්‍රද්ධාවක්, බුද්ධ ධම්ම සංඝ රත්නය කෙරෙහි ශ්‍රද්ධාව පදනම් කරගෙන තමයි මේ දාන චේතනාව අපේ හිත තුළ පාළ වෙන්නේ. ඒ සිතට අපි කැපවී ජීවත් වෙනවා ඒ අරමුණ සාක්ෂාත් කරගන්න. That is the way that the Janaka karma becomes strong. Do you understand?
Bhante, can I ask something,
Right?
please?
One moment, Dil. Let us also then consider the akusal side of it. Right? The akusal side of it. Because it can happen as well. And the extreme of the akusal side is niyata mithya drushtika. Right? Niyata mithya drushtika, where a person has a view of mithya ditti, and people who are not of keen intellect actually cannot become niyata mithya drushtika. It is impossible. You cannot be niyata mithya. Actually, if I might put it in this manner, the foolish is unable to become niyata mithya drushtika. Right? The intellectually weak is unable to become niyata mithya. It does not happen. Because to become niyata mithya drushtika, you have to have a mind that is fast working as well as is able to deduce and connect different realities. Right? Ekimma thamai. So you see, it is a person with keen intellect and prajna that attains nibbana, and such persons can also go to the extreme of niyata mithya drushtika on the other side. Right? And that on the other side. Right? So Niyata Mithya Drishtika, the akusal side of it is when you take on an object of unwholesome or an unwholesome pattern of thinking and you hold on to it, unable to let go, the lack of nekkhamma, right? The lack of nekkhamma leads you to now dig yourself deeper and deeper into that akusala. That makes your akusala even more stronger, so much so that you will be unable to escape it. The extreme of such an akusala is the heinous crimes. The heinous crimes, right? That is the extreme of one's akusala. The lowest or the most powerful of those heinous crimes being becoming a niyata mithya drishtika. Becoming a niyata mithya drishtika is far more worse than even attempting to shed the blood of a Buddha, an enlightened being. Because niyata mithya drishtika, because one fine day that person can find exit from samsara, as Devadatta will someday as well. But a niyata mithya drishtika, the Buddha says, even if 100,000 Buddhas were to stand shoulder to shoulder around the boundary of the universe and preach Dhamma to this person, he will not be able to find liberation from samsara. Why? He is so entrenched in micchaditti. He is so entrenched in micchaditti. Is that clear? How Janaka Dhamma becomes strong, right?
So Bhante, when you say mithya drishtha, you're referring to sakkaya ditthi. It's the same thing, is it? Or
No.
is it different?
Micchaditti is karmaya pilibandava, karmaya viswasa noke. Micchaditti, micchaditti, not miniyata mithya.
Yes.
Micchaditti is karmaya, having no belief in karma, past lives, future lives, past and future lives, Paticcasamuppada, eightfold noble truths, and eightfold noble truths. Paticcasamuppada, eightfold noble truths, and eightfold paths, eightfold paths, and the four noble truths.
And the four noble truths.
Sorry, I'm getting old.
So this is
Bhante?
what came in that where there were 62 views, Bhante. In that you talked about
Otokota, oya mithya drishtike kotas, right? Those 8 or 7, right? That I've just mentioned. A person who becomes niyata mithya drishtike through daily experiences, through evaluation, through intellect, through sophisticated intellect, he will find data within this world to prove his point again and again and again and again and again and again and again, right? So much so what happens to this being is he will, upon the breaking up of the universe, the cluster of the universe, what happens is this universe has a magnetic pull ingrained within Dhamma, because apparently it is only within this universe that people attain Nibbana. Apparently, right? According to the Dhamma, right? And apparently at the end of the breaking up of the universe clusters, people who are mithya drishtika, who are then niyata mithya drishtika by that time, or mithya drishtika, if unfortunately at the breaking up of the cluster, will kind of be sort of, will disappear from this universe and will reappear within clusters where, within clusters away from this universe, because this universe will be destroyed according to Sapta Surya Uggaha Sutra.
Yeah.
Now let us say, unfortunately, we believers of Dhamma, by that time they say most of these believers in Dhamma will have attained. So probably, hopefully, api okkama ee kale niman dakala, right? And that is what it says, right? Somehow we will go to the Buddha Mettaya Buddha Sasana and we will attain Nibbana, right? I'm saying we, hopefully. Right? Right. And then what happens is those unfortunate few, they will be thrown out of the Mangala Chakravala, which is right.
Yeah.
So the mithya drushtikas who are unable to attain will now coerce and work with or come into contact with mithya drushtikas who have been existent for a long time in the universe, turning them into niyata mithya drushtikas. Right? And anyone, I mean, these beings are so highly intellectual, so much so, right? They will, anyone who comes into contact with them and who listens to me will be thoroughly convinced to such an extent of the devoidness of Dhamma in this world. Right? Not that their main mission and goal is to sort of make people devoid of sort of, it is like, for example, like, some people might, when you're in certain professions, some people might convince you that, there's nothing called right in this world. It is all a matter of perspective, right? It is only a matter of perspective. So get what you can when you can do so, right? So people danna dharmya tamatha karala upan amma tatta tamatha karala hamba karanna puluwan හැම දෙයක්ම අපි හම්බ කරන්න උත්සාහවත් වෙනවා අපේ මනුස්සකමත් අමතක කරලා අපි මැරෙනවා කියන දෙයත් අමතක වෙනවා කොච්චර අමතක වෙනවද කිව්වොත් මේ ගෙදර ඉන්න ළමයි දරුවෝ අමතක වෙනවා. Right? I mean, it happens, isn't it? So just imagine when we come into contact with those niyata mithya drushtika, they will convince us. Right? That is what the Buddha says, which is the danger of being a niyata mithya drushtika. Right? Because when we do become niyata, or people or beings who are niyata mithya, they will not come close to this universe again, because there is nothing within their consciousness which is bringing them close to this world.
Excuse me, Bhante.
Yes, Sujata.
Niyata Mithya, can you name a person who lived during the Buddha's time? Do we know of any? Have you heard?
Niyata mithya drushtika who lived during the Buddha's time. There should be someone for sure. Let me give that a search and come back to you, Sujata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I will listen so attentively. I couldn't think of a question to ask her because I'm not absorbing most of the things. It's too much for me, I feel.
Oh,
But
what?
still, for no reason, I'm attending the classes.
Really? Do you think so?
I'm getting it, but I don't know how to ask the question. But I'm getting things into my head, I think.
Okay. I mean, stay with us, Sujata. Don't give up on,
Too deep it is actually, the language.
this. ඒක හින්දාම තමයි මම සිංහලෙන් ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් දෙකම කරන්නේ. I
No,
learned
no,
Tamil
it-
also.
Well done, Bhante. Well done.
It is not the English. It's not the
Excellent,
English, not the
Bhante.
Sinhala Bhante.
Bhante, when you learn Tamil, don't forget to teach us in English and Sinhala.
The whole trifecta.
Bhante, the Dhammic terms are so alien to me. Very, very difficult.
Yes.
But Bhante, if you are a Niyatamika district, would you, now you say all the Buddha's relatives and all these people, whether they were Kema, Upalavanna, Yasodhara, Mahaprajapati, all, they had done for so many years, they had done merit to be born during the time of the Buddha, and therefore they were associated somewhere. So would you get a Niyatamika of a previous Buddha's time, ever being born during a Buddha's time and come in contact with them?
If personal grudges.
But even people like
Now, Devadatta,
Devadatta.
there was a personal grudge that Devadatta had from a past life, right? The what now, even in a kusala arumana gatta, even if you are to take kusala sort of inclinations, we become in a way infatuated, so committed to the task that our energy links to a person or an instance or a community, right? Now, for example, those beings, for example, if you are to take Sri Lankans, right? Or even let's take an example. I mean, here, if you take a person who lives in some village in the UK, right? A beautiful village, his life is, he adores the village life, all of that. He has all the people that he knows lives in the village, that kind of life, right? Beautiful. There is a high chance that the person upon death will also be reborn in the village, if he is to be reborn as a man again, or a person as again. Why? Because of the armunu ganna thana, where it takes an object. What is the object of life that it takes? That life in the village, right? That life in the village. Do you understand? So even if, for example, for us, even if we are reborn in the divine planes, upon rebirth, what determines whether we are reborn with the Dhammic gods or whether we are reborn with the deities who are not so Dhammic? Our own inclinations. Because you can be reborn in the divine abodes and be with those beings who are not Dhammically inclined, and there are so many. But there are also so many beings who are Dhammically. Which group will you be in? I mean, our human life is the same, isn't it? Right? Just at this moment, while we are all in this class, there can be so many other people. Of course, there are, although they might be sort of, they are Buddhist or whatever, they might probably not be listening to Dhamma right now. They might be, doing something else which is against the Dhamma. So many, right? Their lives are not sort of circulating around them. So it all depends on what inclinations we have during the time of death. Yeah.
And is that the reason why when we do the Buddha Vandana and things like that, we say Imina Punya Kamena Mami Bala Samagama, so that you're thinking in all the words that you won't come across these people, because they can, if they are like this, they can influence you. So you prefer to be born with people who
Yes,
are...
it is. And to all sort of have a more heightened gratitude over the Dhamma, a heightened gratitude over those beings who practice the Dhamma.
And are you saying that Devadatta is Mithya Drishtika and will never get out, unlike Moggala and all to their parents?
He was Mithya Drishtika.
Right.
I'm sorry, he wasn't Mithya Drishtika. Because he had jhanas as well. He was a being who committed, a heinous crime, such as sort of hurting the Buddha.
Yeah.
Right, or planning the downfall of the Buddha and hurting the Buddha physically, right? That which is a karma which led him to be where he is right now.
So he will be one of those people who will be thrown out into this Mangala Chakavala.
No,
unlike
he will apparently attain during the time of Metteyya Buddha, he will attain.
Oh.
What is the English term for Niyata Mithya Drishtika, Bhante?
Sorry, excuse me. The English term for Niyata Mithya Drishtika. What is the English term for Niyata Mithya Drishtika? Does anyone know? We will have to find. Does anyone know what the English term for Niyata Mithya Drishtika is? We will have to circle back on that.
Mithya Drishtika is wrong view. And I
Niyata,
haven't come across this Niyata Mithya Drishtika before.
yes.
Absolute.
Absolute. Absolute.
Non-believer, is it?
Bhante, but you have actually told us, and so that's why your Dhamma is so fascinating. You have told us about the Mangala Chakravala and about the Niyata Vidya Drushti before in our teachings, and it's so fascinating to hear that. So those two Velenda, Seru, Vanija, and who were angry. So one of those was Devadatta, wasn't it? Another one was our Bodhisattva. Those two Velendas, and in Jataka stories, you read them who.
So many.
Yeah. So they were in previous births also like that.
Yeah. I mean, Devadatta. Yes, Mala. Yes.
Bhante, what you're saying is once you are a Niyata Mithya Adhishtika, are you always a Niyata Mithya Adhishtika?
Yes. No
Yes.
saving.
So there's no salvation for them.
No. Dharme
Bhante, then if you are Niyata Mithya Adhishtika, you have to be an intelligent person. So in that way, the ignorant people, they are lucky. They won't be meet.
Oh my gosh. This is because this group is too smart as well.
Yeah, I'd rather be an ignorant person than,
No.
So, but then
No.
you won't be a Niyata Mithya Adhishtika for the rest of your life or whatever.
So this is the thing. This is the thing. It is ignorance is not a power of the mind, right? Ignorance is a state of mind. Do you understand? Right? Ekiyanne meeduma tibbat apita peenama. We can see. The fact that we can't see far is regardless, but we see. Right? The ignorance is like that meeduma. Right? That fog, that mist.
Mist. Yeah.
The mist. Right? So what we or how we see the capacity of seeing. The capacity of seeing is what is in connection to the sophistication of mental intellect. Right? Now, for example, some people, they learn, they educate themselves. I mean, they educate themselves, but they stick on to their moral ethics. Some completely might forget it. I mean, like what, happened at Auschwitz. These were all very so intelligent. I don't know whether I should be saying the next thing. So intelligent, even after the war, there were countries which were prepared to hide these scientists for their own personal gain. Isn't it? Right? Because they were so highly intellectual, but the heinous crimes that they committed for the sake of science, for the sake of pushing mental boundaries and all of these things, it's just, I mean, it's unbelievable. Right? So ignorance is one thing. The inability to see sort of, to comprehend or to sort of, can't go beyond the box that we are in. But the intellectual sophistication is something entirely different. That intellectual sophistication is where the Niyata Mithya Adhishtika happens. Yeah, that is where it happens. Etana තමයි අර තදින් අල්ලගන්නේ. කොච්චර තදින් අල්ලගත්තද කියලා කියන, some people, right? I'm remembering the sutra that we did all the time now. on conflict, remember? Right speech. I'm remembering, so I'm correcting my words, right? Some, because of ignorance, right? Ignorance leads beings to lie to themselves And the compulsion that is created through those lies makes them truly believe that the lies have now become reality. Right? That is what we are talking about, that intensity. So being foolish or, saying ignorance, not knowing is bliss has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Thank you, Bhante.
But yes, I guess some might assume or imagine. So who wanted to say something?
Nira.
Okay, Nira, yes.
Nalini asked what Nitya Mistya Dutti in English. It's according to the Narada's book, the Manual of Abhidhamma. It's referred to as permanent skepticism.
Permanent skepticism. Okay. Okay. Nalini?
Thank you, Neela.
Bhante, Google says absolutely delusional.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess that is more word for our sort of usage.
Yeah.
I guess, the permanent skepticism works as well, isn't it?
Yes, that is really correct. Permanent skepticism is somebody who's always doubting, right? Never believing. So permanent skepticism, that is it. The other one is more colloquial. Delusion is ignorance. So it's absolutely,
yeah, very colloquial.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so where did we stop, everyone? Back to the Patthana.
Gone back.
We
were supposed to finish the Patthana today.
Shriyani, you have said infidel. Are you calling me an infidel, or who are you? The Mithya Dushtik infidels. So infidel, I don't think infidel is the correct word. Shriyani, infidels. What does infidel? Yeah.
It's a derogatory term. It's a very it's just a derogatory term. Infidel are people who are like, who are not very intelligent and in a very derogatory way. Infidel.
Not to be used, I think.
Yes. Because we only hear that, in war zones being used.
But there is a lot of...
Bhante, can I just, you were referring to this Janaka karma that the Buddha had. So did the Buddha before, now, when that Nalagiri elephant came, he was a Buddha. So when he pushed Ananda aside, did he realize that because he was a Buddha that he could be killed? And that's why he said, Ananda, you move aside, I'll go in front because I'm the Buddha. He said that. So he did because by that time he was a Buddha, right? So he knew that he couldn't be killed. So the Buddha would have had the knowledge. But when he sat under the Bodhi tree, and when he was still then a Bodhisattva, and he said, I will not get up. You said when they intend that they never give up, they carried. You mentioning that one of the qualities of it. So when the Bodhisattva sat under the tree and said, I will not get up from here till my bones become dust and all those things, did he sort of realize that he was on the way to Buddhahood, and that when he says but he wasn't aware. He just said that I won't do it. But we know that the Buddhas have that when they make an intention, that intention is fulfilled just as much as.
So yes and no. No to being under the Bodhi tree. It was not because of the fact that he knew that he was going to be the Buddha. It was completely on the basis of Arada Virya, where he was not going to look back up until he attains. He actually attains, right? And he knew not about the fact of his past births or anything like that. Up until this time, it was only towards the later times of the night that the Bodhisattva saw all of this, leading to his awakening. In the occasion of Nalagiri, the simple fact is Buddhas don't have fear, right?
They don't.
Not to mean, now this can be taken in a way of stupidity, right? It is not in the way of, stupidity where, you have to be like pompous about, your confidence and all, not in that manner. Just I'm putting it down there. I understand that you would understand, but this is recorded, this is online. So not in a manner which is pompous, but basically fear arises based on the fear of losing something. The Buddha does not fear losing, because there is nothing to lose. That is what Buddhahood is founded upon, right? Hence, at the time of Nalagiri's story, his encounter with the Buddha knew, of course, his state as the Buddha cannot be sort of, done away with by being like Nalagiri. That's why even Sakra ran away, but the Buddha did not move an inch. Right. And we also find the Buddha's lack of fear of losing. He is not concerned with winning nor losing. He doesn't. Right. And he also knew that the power of his being, the extent of the power of his being as well, is known to the Buddha. And his practice. So confident. Right, and he has displayed. I mean, going through the different Jataka stories, practices of the Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva, there were as an unenlightened, committed being. How many satyagrahas did the Bodhisattva do and complete just by the mere conviction of mind? Now, with his power of samadhi, his power of Nirodha Samapatti, his power of the Buddha's attainment path, fruition, all of that, the Buddha was far more powerful than the time that he was a Bodhisattva. Without any of that, he only had jhana in some births, right? You see, so it was really in knowing the position that the Buddha was in mind. Right, we cannot articulate that position. If we articulate that position in the fact, okay, but the Buddha did not move because he knew that he cannot be known, because then that is like, you know what I mean? Like a masquerading factor. Yeah, so we cannot articulate it in that manner. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. And is Arati Virya same thing as Uttana Virya?
No, Arati Virya is, Uttana Virya is a high state of effort. Aradha Virya is Arati, not Aradha.
You just mentioned it.
Arati Virya, yeah. Is unshakable effort, commitment, right? Radical effort. Radical effort is whatever happens, right? Whatever happens, whether life or death, right? I will do it.
That is Arati Virya. And Uttana Virya is just a heightened.
It's Uttana Virya. It's a high state of Virya.
Like Adisila.
Yes.
Sila. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you very much.
Yes. All right. So coming back to the Patthana, we actually association.
We were discussing 20.
We were discussing 20. We went to 19 to get a basis of 20. Yeah. And we got stuck in 19. And we got stuck in 19. But I think it was a good stuck, because those who found it a bit confusing, sort of, it was good for those who found it a bit confusing, isn't it? I hope.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe it was good in a way. So then we will continue with disassociation, connascence, prenascence, and postnascence next week. And hopefully we are able to sort of, I don't know whether we'll be able to complete it, but let's see. Yeah. Yeah. So we will wrap up the session for today. Yes, Damsari?
And are we going to have a session, discussion session?
A discussion session, yes.
Maybe Saturday? Oh, no, sorry. Saturday.
No, the weekends. Don't do
not weekends, okay.
Can we, what about Friday?
Yes, Friday would be good, but Friday evening.
Friday.
This is very a selfish ask, but I'm not here the next week. I'll be here for a meditation tomorrow, but I'm going to be away. And this session will be very important. If the others don't mind, I'm only just making a request. I do understand if they want it and can, because it's not the same as listening to one of your discussions or talks. But if you are present, then a lot of your things you don't know, you can get. So because I'm going to be away from Wednesday to Wednesday. It's something which the family has arranged, and I have to go with them and other people as well. So Bhante, I'll be back on Thursday for the meditation. I'll be back not so I'm going day after tomorrow. But of course, if the others want, I will just listen to the session. It doesn't matter, because if you can wait, I would really appreciate. But if the others need it, and if you record it, I will. When I come back, I will listen back. I'm just only.
Or we will postpone till next week.
Oh, thank you, Dharmasari. I'm very grateful.
Postpone it.
So much in the discussions you can.
So we'll postpone till next week, because Mala says Mala is also busy. And for some reason.
Okay. Thank you, Mala. My heartfelt gratitude to you.
Yes, David.
Bhante, can we fix the date even for next week? Can we do it? The date for next week, that will be good. But I don't know how your schedule would be.
Yes. Let me see. So next week.
Next Friday.
So maybe we could know. I won't be able to do Friday night, but because I have a Piriton that day, and then the 17th we have the retreat.
Yes.
Right. So it would have to be Thursday, if that is the 14th of July.
Yeah, any day is okay for me.
Yeah, 14th of July.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I'll be back then, because I'm coming 13th night. So 14th I'll be here. Thank you, Bhante.
We will, okay.
Is Mala all right? Mala, are you okay?
Mala is requesting Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh, we can do Wednesday.
And Bhante don't, because I'm coming
then we have the class.
Are you coming on Wednesday? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so please.
Yeah, okay.
Wednesday we have our Sutta class too.
I mean, if it is all right, I mean, we can even do during the morning hours, if that makes it easier for people to attend, right? I mean, I don't know how your plans are, but we can even do morning hours. If it is Friday morning, I can.
What time, Bhante?
If that allows, I mean, midday, even midday, 2-3 o'clock or whatever.
2-3 o'clock I can. Afternoon.
Afternoon.
That's
Friday afternoon, if that is possible.
Friday afternoon.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll be
then මට උදේ පාන්දරට.
No.